have a long and rich history of interaction marked by cultural, economic, and political exchanges. With 35 African nations represented, the high level of participation at today's India-Africa Defense Ministers Conclave highlights the enduring strength of India and Africa partnership. DEF Expo 2020 has successfully showcased India's emergence as a hub for defense manufacturing, and today's conclave will catalyze strategic defense cooperation between India and Africa. I would now request the Defense Secretary, Dr. Ajay Kumar, to please give the welcome address.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Defense Minister of India, Shri Rajnath Singh Ji, Honorable Minister of State for Defense, Shri Shripad Naik Ji, Honorable Defense Ministers from various African countries, Excellencies, distinguished heads of delegation, and other esteemed guests. It is my privilege to welcome you all to the first India-Africa Defense Ministers Conclave being held on the sidelines of Defense Expo 2020 in Lucknow. It is indeed an honor to have representation from 37 African countries here today. We are grateful to all of you for your presence. India and Africa have enjoyed close ties historically, and our engagement has assumed a new dimension and focus under the leadership and vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi. Our common security challenges, namely piracy, drug trafficking, terrorism, extremism, insurgency, require us to work closer than ever before in the interest of peace, stability, and overall prosperity of the region. Our defense engagement with Africa dates back to the 1960s, when Indian troops participated in UN peacekeeping mission in Congo. Over the years, this engagement has diversified into areas of training and capacity building, participation in exercises, exchange of subject matter experts, and maritime cooperation. India's flourishing defense industry and the advances in the defense R&D have opened up new avenues for our cooperation. We look forward to enhancing our cooperation and collaboration in these areas in a mutually beneficial manner. Let me assure you, Excellencies, that Africa remains a priority area for us, and we look forward to working with you to meet our common objectives. Excellencies, your presence here today is indicative of the ground that we have covered together and the bright future that lies ahead for our cooperation. I am certain that this conclave will help us understand our concerns and perspectives better and provide some concrete action points. I welcome you all once again to this conclave and wish you a pleasant stay in Lucknow with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite the Honorable Defense Minister, Shri Rajnath Singh, to please deliver the keynote address.
Excellencies, my brothers and sisters from Africa, a very good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the first ever Indian Africa Defense Ministers Conclave that is being organized on the sidelines of DEF Expo India 2020. The ties between Africa and India go back in history. We are connected by our ancient maritime links and our colonial past, and looking forward, we are united in our quest for peace, security, and stability and economic growth. Silence the guns, creating conducive conditions for the African development is African Union's theme for the year. It aims to achieve a conflict-free Africa, prevent genocide, make peace a reality for all, and rid the continent of wars, violent conflicts, and human rights violations and humanitarian disasters. The vision of the African Union for peace and security aligns with Prime Minister Modi's vision of Sagars for the Indo-Pacific region. This vision seeks to deepen economic and security cooperation with our maritime neighbors. It is grounded in the basic belief that it is only through collaboration and cooperation that the cause of peace and prosperity shall be advanced. Friends, Prime Minister Modi, on his state visit to Uganda in 2018, had enunciated 10 guiding principles for India's engagement with Africa. Foremost of these is that Africa will be at the top of our priorities. We will continue to intensify and deepen our engagement, which will be sustained and regular. It will be a partnership guided by your priorities. It will be on terms that will be comfortable to you and will liberate your potential rather than constraining your future. More specifically, on the defense cooperation, these include strengthening cooperation and mutual capabilities in combating terrorism and extremism, keeping our cyberspace safe and secure, and supporting the United Nations in advancing and keeping peace. The principles also include working with African nations to keep the oceans open and free for the benefit of all nations. Cooperation and not competition shall be the guiding force in this endeavor. Defense and security cooperation has been an important aspect of the Indo-Africa engagement. India's security relations with Africa have centered on providing training to African service personnel, participation in United Nations peacekeeping efforts on the continent, and maritime cooperation. Friends, over the years, India has trained officers from several African countries at Indian military training institutions, including some of the prominent leaders of the continent. India has also provided support for creation of military training infrastructure in some of the countries. Our military training teams have also been deputed to some of the African nations to impart training to their personnel as per their need and requirement. These initiatives have helped build people-to-people contact and cement our association. We look forward to continue collaboration in peace and security through exchange of experts and capacity building. We are proud of the contribution and sacrifices of our officers and men in the United Nations peacekeeping operations in the continent. Starting from the first mission in Congo in 1960 till the present, India has participated in almost a dozen peacekeeping operations. We are committed to maintaining these efforts and also contributing capacity building through the Center for UN Peacekeeping in New Delhi. We had the first Africa-India field training exercise 2019 in March 2019 in India, which saw participation from 17 African countries. The exercise demonstrated the commitment of the participating nations in working together. Excellencies, the oceans contribute significantly to the livelihoods of our people. Safe, secure seas are prerequisite for development of blue economy. India recognizes our common security challenges here. These include transnational crimes of piracy, trafficking of drugs, arms, and human and illegal fishing. In addition, there is a growing threat of terrorism and violent extremism. Challenge partner information sharing and surveillance. In recent years, spurred by the Prime Minister's vision of Sagar, India has enhanced maritime cooperation with the Indian littoral states in Africa. Indian Navy has been actively engaged in anti-piracy operations, surveillance, and humanitarian and disaster relief operations in the Indian Ocean region. Indian Navy has been deployed in the Gulf of Aden for over a decade in anti-piracy operations. 75 Indian naval warships deployed in the Gulf of Aden since 2008 have escorted more than 3,440 ships. In 2008, Indian Navy spearheaded the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium, which was enabled constructive dialogue amongst the navies of the region. The dialogue has been a successful initiative in finding regional solutions to the regional problems. Excellencies, we have also launched the Information Fusion Center, Indian Ocean Region at Gurugram. The center aims to address the maritime challenges in the Indian Ocean region by sharing information towards building a common maritime domain awareness. This requires Indian Ocean region littorals to have adequate processed information of their respective maritime domains through coastal radar chains and maritime information centers. We would be willing to share our experience and expertise in this area. Our increased engagement in the region has enabled us to be the first responders in providing humanitarian assistance in times of crisis like cyclone and in Mozambique and more recently in Madagascar. I would like to assure you all, Excellencies, that you can count on India as an all-weather friend who you will find beside you in times of need. Excellencies, the rapid strides made by the Indian defense technology industry, both public and private, and the defense research and development has opened up new vistas for the cooperation to take our engagement to the next level. Indian defense manufacturing companies are now partnering with some of the leading names in the business and are part of their global supply chains. India is geared up to provide offshore patrol vessels, fast interceptor boats, body and vehicle armor, night vision goggles, unmanned aerial vehicles, Dornier aircraft, and arms and ammunition to our African counterparts. The Indian defense industry has also warmed up to the ministry's overtures through initiatives like IDEX, Innovations for the Defense Excellence, and Make to Procurement Procedure for small, innovative solutions to a plethora of defense needs and challenges, and the African country would do well to explore the advanced yet affordable solutions. It is heartening to observe that there has been an increased presence of African delegations at Indian defense exhibitions such as Defense Expo and Aero India in the recent years. We look forward to deeper cooperation in the domain of defense industry, including through investment, joint ventures in defense equipment, software, digital defense research and development, provisioning of defense equipment, spares and their maintenance on sustainable and mutually beneficial terms. I hope that the DEF Expo will provide you an opportunity to see these capabilities firsthand. Excellencies, our partnership with Africa is an open partnership with all the possibilities and avenues for collaboration from our side being open to you to choose from and decide as per your priorities, interests and needs and at your pace. With the benefit of our own experience and expertise, we are willing to support you in your efforts towards seeking peace and prosperity for a better tomorrow for the region. Once again, Excellencies, I thank you all for honoring our invitation and being here today on this momentous occasion of the first ever India-Africa Defence Ministers Conclave. We have made a beginning here today, and I am confident that together we shall take it forward. I look forward to a meaningful round of deliberation today, which will throw up new ideas and suggestions towards further strengthening our engagement. Excellency, I wish you all pleasant stay in India and a fruitful time at the DEF Expo 2020. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now request the Defence Secretary to place the India-Africa Declaration on Cooperation in Defence before the Forum for adoption.
After detailed deliberations with African heads of missions in New Delhi, and after receiving inputs from African countries through our missions abroad, we have finalized the declaration, which is being released as an outcome document of this first India-Africa Defence Ministers Conclave. We now look forward to formally endorsing it so that the declaration could be released. With your permission, Excellencies, we therefore adopt the declaration.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite the Additional Secretary, East and Southern Africa, Dr. Nina Malhotra, to give an overview of India-Africa cooperation.
Honorable Ministers and dignitaries, very good afternoon to you all. On behalf of the Ministry of External Affairs, I am honored to give a short presentation on India-Africa partnership. Let me begin by saying that India-Africa ties go back a long way. Our people have traded with each other and exchanged cultural values for centuries. The presence of Siddhi African community in the Gujarat region of India and a temple which is over 350 years old in Mozambique corroborate that fact. Africa is now home to 3 million people of Indian origin.